Hey guys, thank you for watching our Smart Shenzhen. I'm the producer of Smart Shenzhen. My name is Eric, and in the last few episodes we made quite a few documentary style videos talking about the supply chain and industrial design here in Shenzhen. I think from the last few episodes we definitely presented very well in terms of the infrastructure and facility we have here in Shenzhen. But I think that's not enough. That is not very insightful. So today I bring these three guests here to talk about their personal experience in Shenzhen and share some of the insights from them. They are entrepreneurs here in Shenzhen. They either make their own product in Shenzhen or help the Chinese company here to market the Chinese product to other countries. So on my right hand is Jenxi. He is from Malaysia, but he spent most of the time in Singapore and now come to Shenzhen to help the companies here to market their product to other countries. And Janek it's German-born British, right? And we have Abed from Jordan. I think probably less because I spent a bit of time with Janek, and then maybe Janek, you started and introduce yourself about like your background, your business, and your experience here.
Yeah, so I'm Janek. I'm a kind of electronics engineer, bordering on electronic product designer. I help a few different people in the UK to build devices that they need either for research or to sell as part of their business. And so I found that being in Shenzhen is very useful to me because it means I can really accelerate the prototyping of the devices, and then once I've created something, then I can also get it manufactured both in small numbers or relatively large numbers. And in my case, sometimes the numbers are really small. So one example, there was literally only a single item made at the end of it because it was a kind of an art project.
I got it. So, and then Janek is from the West, and then we go to the Middle East, from Abed from Jordan.
So I'm Abed from Jordan. I'm creating like a business here, mainly in China. And I came to China like 3 years ago.
Oh, pretty long time.
I wanted actually to stay only 2 weeks, but I found myself just staying here because I like it and it satisfies my business. So basically I'm creating like a handheld device that you can point to food and you can know if it's contaminated or not just by one press. So the underlying technology is all about optics and chemistry. And we started this in Germany before, and I worked in Germany for some time, Estonia, Czech Republic, and then I moved to Shenzhen for 3 years until I got now a working prototype, and I have now a company here. So basically my background is all about computer engineering, but I do a lot of stuff like business, sometimes industrial designs, and also sourcing for my project. Shenzhen was like very valuable to me, so when I came here, like I found something like different than I heard about, because I heard something like it's very hard to access, very strange country, nobody will help you, you will lose yourself. But I found something like it was very easy for me to access it through a lot of friends, through a lot of like people I met here. So that's why I decided to stay here and move all my prototyping and technical team to Shenzhen.
That's cool. So then from Middle East and then moved to Asia, and Jenxi from Malaysia or from Singapore, and then maybe you can just build yourself.
I'm actually a pharmacist by profession. I've been practicing for about 7 years. Then I left the profession to take on the opportunity to come to Shenzhen to do a cafe. I did a cafe here for a year, and after that I had the chance to go into consumer electronics, which is something I'm very interested in. And right now I do product development, product design, even do marketing as well. My main field is still in sales and marketing right now. Probably being bilingual, it is a very big asset for me to help them to communicate their ideas with the clients overseas. We mainly deal with clients in the US and Europe right now.
That's cool. So actually you can see we have like 3 guests there from, as I said, from the very west and to the Middle East and to the east. So we have like quite interesting backgrounds. So I think actually before you guys came to Shenzhen or came to China, I'm wondering, do you guys have the experience of turning to other countries looking for like suppliers? You know, what's the difference, you know, between China or other countries, or being specifically Shenzhen or other countries or other cities? Maybe we start from Jordan, because you mentioned that you have been to Czech Republic, Estonia, or Jordan, or German.
Yeah. So I spent like 5 years in Europe before, between Estonia, Germany, and Czech Republic, mainly like working on hardware stuff. The thing is, I was doing like PCBs in Germany. It cost me like 160 euros, and I need to wait like 7 days to get it. So that's like just an example. But here in Shenzhen, I can get it now next day for just 50 RMBs. So you can imagine the difference for your time, for your like balance, for your like development process. So that's just one example. And also another thing, when I was like in Germany, Estonia, Czech Republic, when I need something for my device, because I have some optics, so I need to talk to some suppliers in UK, sometimes in Poland, sometimes in different countries. So I need to wait like weeks in order to get my stuff. And also if I have some iterations for my development, I have to wait more and more, just waiting things. So just imagine spending a lot of money and waiting a lot of time just to get like your supply chain from different parts of Europe, because you can't find everything in one country in Europe. So compared to Shenzhen, Shenzhen is like having everything in one city.
Yeah.
So you can find optics in Shenzhen, you can find electronics in Shenzhen, you can find like industrial prototyping in Shenzhen, and they ship next day. Maybe sometimes I receive stuff in the same day.
Yeah.
Just this is like the main reason why I like Shenzhen, because the ecosystem here for building product is very powerful compared to any other place. And you know, more than 90% of electronics in the world, they have some parts that being made in Shenzhen.
I got it.
So you can find whatever you are building, you can find suppliers here. So for my product, I told you a lot of things that I need. So the best place to be is Shenzhen for my development.
I see. So actually, from your experience, probably there are, I think, two main reasons being here. The first one is definitely you can get everything done faster and meanwhile cheaper, right? Yeah, talking about cheaper and faster, there is also very strong or heavy stereotype about China or about Shenzhen. And the first one is copycat, and then when talking about cheap, it means low quality. So from your experience and observation, is that really true between the cheap and low quality and the copycat then?
No, I wouldn't say that. So the simplest example I can give for that actually is the 3D printing for prototyping.
Yeah.
Which again, because some of the devices I'm building for research are made in fairly small numbers, so the enclosures for them will need to be 3D printed because it's not cost effective any other way. And so we've had for that some parts printed here in, not in Shenzhen but in Dongguan, which is next to Shenzhen. And then we had the same part printed in the UK or also in France because they needed it more quickly than it could be shipped from here.
Yeah.
Which that's sometimes a limitation when you're here. Shipping is always a hassle, and everyone will tell you many stories about that. But what we found was the parts printed in the UK and in Europe actually didn't even fit together because they were finished so poorly. And that's something that if you send something to be printed here, the factories will spend some time to tidy it up at the end, make sure that it fits together and give you a decent quality at the end, even though their cost is very low. I suspect that's mainly just because there's so much competition. So around Shenzhen there must be somewhere between dozens to hundreds of 3D printing companies that all compete for the same business. So they keep their costs low, they keep their service high, because otherwise they can't survive.
Yeah,
same thing for getting PCBs made or for just about anything else you need here.
So it means actually as the ecosystem here is here, and then the competition is pretty fierce. So people are striving for cheaper price and higher quality or a better service.
Yeah, another thing to mention is because the buying power of Chinese is getting higher now, so factories here are producing much better quality than before. So even the cheapest price now you can have very good quality due to competition between factories to deliver something for Chinese market.
And another thing is just simply experience. So if you're looking at, for example, getting molds made, which is a fairly complex, difficult process which requires a lot of experience. Now, in the past, the UK had a quite good reputation for that. But if you were looking today and comparing the quality between, a quite high-end company in the UK and just an average company in China, you'll find probably the Chinese one will produce a better quality mold at the end, because they just have so much experience. Probably 99% of all molds in the world are made in China.
Exactly. We have talked about that knife thing, because I think back to 3 years ago, there is no YouTuber test out the steel knife, right? And they bought some copycat or fake product from China, and they want to test it and accumulate the manufacturer from China. It turned out that guy was shocked. And then said that the quality actually is quite good. It's in a way it's better than the original one. But of course, copycat is definitely a very, very bad thing. That wouldn't really have to. And China also, I think the government is trying to fighting against this copyright thing as well. And of course, we have been talking for quite a while. We're talking about good thing about China. But I'm sure that no matter where you go in this world, there definitely some bad thing happens. So or either any trap, you have been, cause even I know because you're like you're Chinese as well. You're like a bilingualist. You can speak Mandarin here. So for you, do you have any experience like being scammed or any trap in content, and then or how do you fix the problem?
More competition, because we sell to customers overseas. We've actually faced a lot of competition from the locals. You actually often realize that the pricing difference is very, very close. It's because we sell to B2B and B2C, they often require like certification for the products, and very often the difference in price is just the difference in the certifications, and it's whether the factories want to do the certifications. It's often kind of like a chicken and egg thing. They want to have the guarantee that the order will come in, then they would invest the money to pay for the certification. Whereas the customers, they want to make sure that you have the certification before they will place the order. It's this kind of situations that you often face with some companies. And I don't know how to put this across, because I think there are some companies that actually come up with fake certifications.
Yeah, I think probably because Jenxi, first of all, Jenxi looks Chinese and also speaks Mandarin here, so it's not a really big problem for him to encounter any trap. But I think for Abed and Janek, I think it would definitely be very easy to encounter some traps here.
Well, that's some kind. So today, like everything is online.
Yeah.
So you can find all repetition for the factory or all customers. So you can't like fall easily for some traps, or some fake factories or doing things. But the thing is, like if you have like very easy to copy product, then probably everyone will look to copy you just after your first batch. If you have something unique. So probably if you have something that is easy to copy, it's better for you to just do things very fast and don't depend on to build business on this. So just like do your first batch and forget about it, because if it's very easy to copy, everyone will copy it, especially if it's very useful to the market. So I heard about a lot of Kickstarter campaigns. They did very simple things. And before even they finished their campaigns, other factories started to produce their products. So they found their products just online.
I spot one or two examples. One is like a selfie stick, and then it is. I read all the comments on Kickstarter. Is that I have already got this from the e-commerce site from China, and even cheaper than yours. And what is yours now?
Which actually I think in a way someone could turn that around and say, okay, the factories are already making it. I don't have to pay for the molds. I'll just buy it from them and send it to my factories. I don't think anyone's done that yet.
Yeah. So okay. So from my understanding of you guys, like as trap things, so it's the thing you guys are concerned is more about copyright thing, right? It's not really about like you go to some like factories or some companies will like scam you, right?
Yeah. So I haven't actually really experienced any issues of being scammed in any sort of direct ways than that. And I'm also somewhat fortunate that I don't have to worry about the copyright side as much, because most of the things that I develop are quite niche, and that's where I get some of my kind of competitive advantage, in that I can produce niche, low volume things, and nobody wants to copy them, because the factories that do copying, they want to copy the things
volume, right? Yeah.
Sell in huge volume.
Yeah.
So I'm fairly safe.
Yeah, and also a topic is I think last year there's a guy from Colombia. He said he's very worried about his product being copied, and then said to him, hey mate, don't worry about that. If your product can be copied, that means your product is already hot sale. Otherwise, no people will copy your product. Yeah, because most people don't have idea that, especially these newbies, they want to make their own product. They think, oh, making products is very easy, because they don't even have the concept of industry design. They just like, oh, I have this idea, and then bring in another like a similar product. I want to make this product, and how much I can get it done, and has no clue about this. You should be going like industry design, making mold, and making prototype, and then it was in all this product and put in mass production.
So the biggest advice I could give to someone who's worried about their products getting copied is to really focus on their relationship with the end consumer. So making sure they have a really strong brand, a really strong online presence, and to really give people the sense that this is an original product that has something behind it, that has an original concept, that has a sense of quality behind it, because that will create a situation where the end consumer will want to buy it from them rather than want to buy the copy of it.
I see. And of course, and then we have talked about like first of all, you've been in China, you've been working in Shenzhen, especially making electronic products or high-tech products. You have the ecosystem here, and then you can get things faster, you can get things cheaper. But is being in Shenzhen really bring your company's running costs down, or compared to the running cost back to your home country?
Of course, like the development is the main important cost for any startup, especially building a product, and also the timeline. So I know some startups like stayed in Europe and they have just like one prototype cycle each year.
Yeah.
Because everything there is very slow.
I think 3 months here in Shenzhen.
Oh, it can be much less even.
Yeah. So that's also like another thing for any startup. So if you are a startup, you get some investment to build your product, and if you need to stay in another place rather than Shenzhen, then you need more like time, more money, and also the market is going very fast. So if you don't build your product so fast, someone else will do. So the lifetime for any product nowadays is like 6 months, and after that something else will replace it. So the market is so fast, so you need like very fast development area in order to build your product and make it to the market as soon as possible.
I see. So as I said previously, in China there's a trend where people, in the past, because I'm Chinese, because I've never been to US or I've been to UK. I don't know what is really going on there, but from my observation, my experience here, the younger generation of Chinese, they feel kind of like self-confidence about China first of being getting stronger, and people also business here start to think that we can make a better product. And from you guys, the observation is in terms of like manufacturing or in terms of like technology, is China is getting really stronger or better, or it is true or just half true?
I think it's almost true, because like in China everything is being changed so fast. So if you don't keep with these changes, you will be in like. So I went to Europe just 2 months actually, and I go back to find a lot of things just changed here.
Yeah.
So you need to keep yourself to track with every changes, and because you are in Shenzhen, the city itself is being developed so fast. So being in this city, you will develop your skills, your experience so fast also. So that's, I think, why it's true.
I think it's also true that the confidence of Chinese companies to create some original products and to try to create products that have a very high level of quality is increasing very rapidly. So everyone's already familiar with the example of Xiaomi or the example of DJI, who are both somewhere near the top of their markets. DJI certainly completely dominates their market. But there's also many less well-known brands that are being created in China, and the ambition now of the creators in China that I see is to create a top quality product. And of course China has the huge advantage of having all the ecosystem of all the factories that have already been producing the top quality products for everyone else. So as soon as someone designs something like that and goes to a factory with that ambition, they can create it. And a very interesting thing I find is if you talk to a factory, you have to let the factory know whether you want the lowest price or whether you want a good quality. Because a lot of factories will assume that especially if you come to them as a foreigner, that what you're looking for is just the lowest price, because that's what they've been used to for such a long time. But in many cases, they will be quite able to give you a higher quality as well, if that's what you ask for.
Yeah. So, and if this trend is true, so what do you think? What the impact, to what that mean impact on the businessmen or business people from other countries if they want to use China as a comparative advantage?
So there is obviously a big opportunity there, because you can get very good quality products made at a very low cost, but there is also a bit of a risk that companies should be aware of, in that more and more companies from within China are starting to use global distribution channels like Amazon, eBay to distribute their products internationally. And at the beginning they were only doing that at the very low cost end of the market, because they didn't have a good concept of how to promote their products internationally. But they're getting a lot smarter at that. And once they do, they're used to living on a margin of somewhere between 5 and 20% on their products. And basically no Western company is set up to work on those kinds of margins.
Yes.
And so that's a big pain point that's kind of coming up for them.
I see. So, because Jenxi, he's a bilingualist, he's able to speak Chinese and English, and very fluently. So from your perspective, what if non-speaking Chinese business people come to China and they want to find very good supplier? So is there anything those people should pay attention to the business culture here, and how should you interact with the supplier or business people here to make a better deal?
I think the best is still to have someone local who knows the place. It's best to have a friend or someone to recommend you, someone who's based here, who's familiar with the cultures and the language to show you around. I think there's a lot of businesses starting up that's doing translations. They will actually guide you to approach these companies and to help you to deal with them. Because if you come in for just maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, it's very hard for you to adjust to the kind of culture here. You actually realize that a lot of companies, the factories actually bring you around, bring you to eat, bring you to show you to nice places. But actually, it's just for that part, just to entertain you. But you don't actually get exposed to the actual working culture, I feel.
I see. So.
But as a counterpoint to that, I would encourage people not to be too afraid, especially if they're coming to Shenzhen, because Shenzhen is one of the most approachable places in China, and I found that the vast majority of factories and businesses within Shenzhen are really approachable and don't really insist on you following some traditional concepts of Chinese ways of doing business. So everyone's heard all those stories about you want to do business with a company in China, you have to drink lots of awful alcohol or something to show you have the right business stamina or something. I've literally never experienced this in Shenzhen in all my time of being here. So a lot of those old customs don't quite apply in the same way. I think the majority of businesses in Shenzhen, they just want to do some good business and they want to do it efficiently, and they don't actually like the bullshit, basically.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I'm personally, I'm not local here. I originally from Hunan province, which is about like I think 20 hours driving from here, and then I started in Beijing, which is quite international cities. But the culture there is quite different from here. And the culture there is that people are talking more about this. It's called, how to say it, all this stuff above in the air. It's really, people there are not really down to the earth. But here, once you're in Shenzhen, I feel that people have more down to earth. They want to get things done and get them quickly. They don't really want to. Okay, before we sign a deal, we got to sign a deal on the table. We can drink all the wines. This is also one of the reasons I like. Eventually, I think for younger generation, for youngsters here in China and Shenzhen, they don't really like this kind of traditional culture. They have to spend a lot of time to entertain other people, drinking together, KTV together, or party together, even something not that good to get business done. So I think also from a Chinese perspective, I think those people who want to come to Shenzhen, they also, I think, should not be very concerned about the culture here, because Shenzhen, I think, is a very modern city. This is an immigrant city. It's like people from all China, from very north, from very south, or from very west. Let's say people from north of China, they come to Shenzhen, they have to spend at 5 to 6 hours flight. Yeah, so almost as far as Jordan, I guess. I should live the culture. And I think, we now, from now we have talked about we can get things done cheaper here, they're faster here, and also this modern city, there's not that much traditional rule we have to follow. And actually, what I plan is to, because in my opinion, every place got good side or bad side. But I failed to manage to get you guys to speak something bad about it here. But yeah, so far so good. I feel Shenzhen is really a good place.
The interesting thing about talking about bad sides. So when I first came to Shenzhen, I did have some struggle to adjust to things like you go into the metro and people don't queue to get into the metro, and they don't let people off the metro before rushing in and blocking the way. And I found that quite frustrating initially, because I was in the UK before where there's a strong queuing culture. But I found actually even just in 3 or 4 years, even those kinds of elements of culture that I thought would take a generation to change are starting to change. I notice people being more aware of people around them, being more polite, being more gentle in their way of being with each other. So that's a remarkable thing about Shenzhen, is that everything is changing really quickly.
I agree, because I had the same experience, because I went to Singapore to work for a year, and then in Singapore everybody queue, right? So and quite polite, not too much noise in the metro, and then came to Shenzhen. I feel a little bit difficult to get used to, but recently I noticed that also you go to the new subways we just built, there's quite good queue there. People start to queue to get into the metro. I think this is a very good sign, because Shenzhen, every year there are a lot of young people, flooding into Shenzhen to work here, and they were all educated. I think, this is almost this episode of Smart Shenzhen, because we want to bring you guys to sit down and talk about the personal experience and share some of the insight. So, and nonetheless, people are looking for answers, especially those people who want to come to China, who are looking for something from China. So I also want you guys to give some kind of brief suggestion to them. So from your your business, from your industry, from what you have been doing here, to give some specific ideas. Let's say Abed is doing the biochemical thing, right? And then also using components like optical stuff, which I think is very high-end, very advanced technology. So from your perspective, if you're doing something which is quite high-tech, what is your suggestion to those entrepreneurial or startup companies outside China?
Well, as Janek said, everything is being developed here, like the culture, the people, and also the services. So for example, like banks, everything today they have somebody speak English, so you can do everything here without needing to speak Mandarin at all. And everything is online, so Taobao is like very big important thing for any business here. So you can order anything online, you can talk to factories using translator. So being like knowing the Mandarin is not necessary to be here. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's like easy to find like some agencies for accommodation, like transportation is easy also here. So life is like, I lived before in many places, but living in Shenzhen is very easy. You can order food, you can do everything using your mobile, order taxi or everything. So living here is not something that is hard for anyone to integrate with. For factories, you don't need to speak Mandarin at all, especially for the first part. So most of the factories here in Shenzhen that I have visited, they have somebody speak English somehow. So most of them, they have somebody, so they will be like helping you for anything you need for manufacturing your devices. And also another thing is there are some sourcing agencies, like if you don't want to work with factories here directly, so you can hire some sourcing agencies and they will help you to reach whatever you want. But for like makers and for people who are doing their startup, I suggest to come here to some working spaces, like some places where foreigners with Chinese makers are being worked, like X Factory, like F518, like Travel America, for example. A lot of spaces here offer some services for foreigners to integrate very easily in Shenzhen. And also that's like very good strategy, so they will help you for anything you need to manufacture your device in Shenzhen. So, and if you are doing something very high tech, also there are some like research centers here, so you can, they have some shared website, you can rent their machines online and you go to university just to try your researches. And also a lot of factories doing like very specific domains like chemistry, optics. So one time I just sent some formulas, like chemical formulas to factory, and they prepared the sample, I'll send it to you next day. That was very easy. So getting what you need to be done is very easy here. And I didn't speak with anybody Chinese, so I just translate using Google Translate and something, just keep it simple and stupid, you don't have to mention anything complicated. And it works. So it's just very simple, so you need to try it. So that's the best advice I can give for anyone who comes here.
That's cool.
And I always encourage people who are doing some kind of electronics development, hardware development, to consider to actually stay in Shenzhen for a large proportion of their product development. Because what I found is people who try to kind of come back and forth, it's quite a frustrating experience, because while you're here in Shenzhen, you can do everything very quickly. You get your PCBs made, you can get them assembled, you get your enclosure prototypes, everything very smoothly, and then you go back to your home country and suddenly you have this huge barrier of land and ocean between you, and everything is just slowed down. It's not a very effective way to develop a product. And ultimately these days, anyone who's in my industry, they need to get stuff from China. So it is just easier to just be here to avoid that whole circle.
Yeah, I agree with this. Like parachute landing always like doesn't work in Shenzhen. So coming here for 1 or 2 weeks, just you get a lot of information and you can't handle anything. So you go back to your country with nothing actually. So you should at least stay here for a few months in order to integrate very well with the ecosystem here. and also develop your product. If you have electronics, if you have anything, you need to stay here. You need to go to factory, especially at the first days, like frequently, to see what they are doing, how do they like handle stuff here. So being outside like China, Shenzhen, will not be good, especially for doing a startup.
I see. Okay, so Jenxi, you actually from you're grown up and educated in Southeast Asia, Singapore and Malaysia. So actually, I can see that there are ongoing trends of like entrepreneurship in Southeast Asia. There are a lot, and quite many people in Southeast want to make their own product as well. So what is your suggestions, for those entrepreneurs or startup company who want to come to China to have their product made?
I still want to reiterate what the two of you said. Is to just come here and try living here, because you never know one until you've been here. For me, it's very easy because I speak both languages. But I think for any foreigners, once you come here, you realize that it's not that hard to be here. One very easy thing that I always tell my foreigner friends is to just get WeChat. You can actually do everything on WeChat. You can buy things, everything can be done on WeChat. Even recently, I did a conversation with a Japanese client. The client just typed everything in Japanese. I just use WeChat to translate, and I just reply everything in English. It's very easy.
I see. So I think probably this is for today. So we're going to wrap this episode of Smart Shenzhen. I think actually there are more stories to tell about Shenzhen. There are more insights to share about Shenzhen, especially when you want to make your product or in China, or where you want to find the right supplier in Shenzhen. So if you have any ideas you want to share with us, just comment on our YouTube channel. So we'll reply to you, and maybe to create some special content for you. Okay, thank you for watching our Smart Shenzhen. We'll see you on the next episode.